Welcome to the Starzone. I'm Patty Spagnuolo. From resource fairs geared towards our students to arts and entertainment aimed to connect with our community, Lansing Community College hosts many events throughout the year, and the Starzone gives you a rundown on what's on the way, where it's happening, and how you can get into the zone at LCC. Welcome to the Starzone. I'm Patty Spagnuolo, your host. Today's guest is Layne Ingram. Layne is Chief of Staff at Lansing Community College, where he drives strategic initiatives, streamlines operations, and fosters a collaborative environment to support the institution's mission. And full disclosure, he's a very dear friend of mine. Layne, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, let's jump right in. Changemaker Center is located in the Gannon building on the third floor. And I took a look at the webpage, so I'm going to read what the blurb is on the webpage. It says, the Changemakers Center exists to honor the extraordinary individuals who shaped Lansing's past while inspiring future generations to create their own legacies of positive change. Through cutting-edge interactive technology and immersive storytelling, we preserve history, celebrate achievement, and prove that ordinary people can accomplish extraordinary things. So can you talk a little bit about how the project got started and, what inspired it?
Well, first, what did you think about that blurb you just read? I wrote it. Did you like it?
I thought it was awesome. You really, I was going to say. Yeah. It was funny because when I did read this, I'm like, well, somebody did a really good job on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The Changemaker Center is really amazing, and it's awesome that the college took on this project. And so the way it started, way back in 2022, one of our former trustees had an idea. And he said out loud, what if there was a place on campus that honored and recognized the contributions of African Americans from Greater Lansing? And he went on to say things like, there have been so many people, past and present, who've made such a great impact on people and on our community. And so the college had to decide how could we do that. And so we brought the board three options. One was a sculpture, because we have sculptures all over campus. We could do a regular sculpture, we could do an outdoor landscape, or we could do a technological installation. And that's what they picked, to do a tech installation. So from about May of 2023 until just a month ago in our grand opening, we've been working on putting that together. And so the Changemaker Center is kind of the result of that.
It's just amazing, and all of the names of people and the history that it contains. I've been up there several days this week just kind of getting the feel for it and running through some of the stuff, and the work that had to go into that is amazing. The sign on the exhibit reads, Welcome to the Changemakers Center, a celebration of the visionaries, leaders, and trailblazers who have shaped Lansing's African American heritage and community. What are some of the activities and focal points of the center?
Oh, yeah. So the Changemaker Center, we have on our website, you can do a quick trip in 45 minutes. You can take 60 minutes, or it really takes about 90 minutes to maybe 2 hours to get through all of it. And so right on we call them walls 1 through 5. So on wall 1, it's a full-length LED display, and it's basically a 27-minute looping video that gives you quotes. It gives you fun facts about Changemakers. It goes through a timeline of Lansing's history. You get footage from the Pave the Way document. And so that's just a really cool kind of immersive thing that you could stop and watch and learn something from. The meat of the exhibit really is wall 2, which we call the Changemakers Chronicles. And that's where you're going to find out about all of the Changemakers that have been inducted. And so every 2 years when we go to add more inductees, their stuff will go there. But on that wall, you can see their bio. You can watch a video on all of our inductees. You learn fun and interesting facts, and then there's also a gallery. We have the Trailblazer Zone, which is basically 3 interactive games. So there's a timeline game, a trivia game, and kind of a did you know game. Wall 5, you have Lansing Through Time, which basically takes people through Lansing's history from an African-American perspective from 1847 all the way basically to forever. Every year something is happening, and so there'll be an update there. And then the final wall is called Echoes of Excellence, and that's really where we have artifacts and mementos, either representing Lansing, representing Changemakers, or just representing milestone achievements, throughout our history of Lansing. So it really does kind of touch on all aspects of what, African Americans have contributed to Lansing.
Awesome. Like I said, I walked through there several times, and I did take the trivia quiz yesterday, and I think I got like 40%. So it's good that, and as I was doing it, I was kind of giving myself a break. Like, you know what? If you knew it all, you wouldn't need to be up here going
Exactly
through
right.
it. So
Exactly
this
right.
way I'm learning something. So I was kind of interested. How did you get a hold of all of those artifacts that are in the showcases, like the trading cards of Irvin Magic Johnson and the guitar? I'd never seen that guitar
Yeah,
before.
it's an awesome thing. But so that's what makes the Changemaker Center so awesome, as well as that this really was a community effort. And so super thankful to our partners at the Historical Society of Greater Lansing, and Bill Castaner and his team. We got the Irvin Magic Johnson trading cards from them, as well as that 6-point star guitar, which is really cool. I mean, that was patented in 1913 by an African-American designer here in Lansing. And so that's a replica of that. A few of our inductees offered items to us, which we hope that continues to grow. And so since we've been in contact with them after the grand opening, we've received more things to go in. And so we plan to swap those out every year on Juneteenth.
Oh, wow. How cool. I was going to say either that, or did you leave enough space to add to?
Right. So every year people will get to see something new. But again, like the Historical Society has just been a great partner to us for that.
That is awesome. I wondered about that. The educational modules seem like a heavy lift for somebody. So whoever built that content, could you maybe talk about like how are those developed?
Well, it depends. You mean on Wall 3 or like Lansing Through Time? Which part?
Like Lansing Through Time with all, yeah.
So we had a really great core group that included, our media services team. We have college historians and then the Historical Society. And so what we wanted to do was figure out a way to go from 1847 to the present, and what were the major kind of eras that we could break down all of that information into. And so you see things like the Great Migration, right? Then the Second Great Migration, the Civil War, the Civil Rights era, school busing. And so in conjunction with our historians, we chased all of that history down to try to, one, be accurate, and two, make sure that we weren't missing anything. But you're right, it was a big lift, but really important to share all of that history in as expansive a way as we could. And I want to tell you where that walk came from. So we put together a focus group, a second focus group, and said, here's what we're thinking for the Changemaker Center. And they said to me, we think this is great, but Lansing has such a rich history of African-American culture, and so maybe one of your walls could tell it just from that perspective, not focused on an inductee or a specific changemaker. And so that Lansing Through Time is directly out of that focus group, from them telling us, no, Lansing's culture from an African-American perspective is really rich. There's a lot of things that happen, a lot of people that have paved the way for us. And so it was certainly a task, but it's turned out just phenomenal. I mean, I learned a lot through it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I was just up there, like I said, this week and yesterday, and the music selections too. It really hits you when you're watching the videos, and just it's really an emotional, like a stirring. I could just really feel. So in thinking about that, stirring those strong emotions, what are you hoping that people experience and walk away with?
I think, honestly, I hope that when people walk away from the Changemaker Center, I hope that they've been inspired. I hope that they learn something. And then depending on who it is, like if it's our students, I hope that they get a chance to see people who look like them, who maybe walk these same halls, who are from this city that they've grown up in. And I hope that they see that they too can be change makers. When it comes to people from the community, just like me, I'm Black, you know what I mean? And so I think as I was working on this project, just the gravity and weight of its importance was not lost on me. The things that I learned about the people that came before me, not lost on me. And so I think it'd be difficult to not be inspired, to not consider how the things that you do every day, how they could impact the people around you or an entire community. And so I hope that people come and really try to just experience all that it is. You know what I mean? Learn about a change maker, learn about our city, see some of the great work of these people who have made it so that I can have the job that I have today, so that our students can get the education that they're getting today. So I really hope that people leave inspired. I hope they leave and want to come back and bring more people.
I think too, from like a historical standpoint, it's hard to teach history, right? Because history is being made every single day. So now you expect these, K through 12 teachers to be able to teach all of this stuff because we keep adding to it, because we're still going. But something like this, it really puts it back into the forefront and makes people remember that it wasn't just all of a sudden you turned a page and we're all here and we're all doing this. When I see some of those photos of these entire families outside of a car, and they were in the middle of their migration. And I'm just thinking, how scary is that? Because a lot of them were fleeing the Jim Crow areas, or the Jim Crow era, which caused them to move north, or, and then when there was discrimination for jobs and housing, and it's like, so what are you moving to? You must feel like you're jumping from the frying pan into the fire at some point. And I just thought, the barriers that was faced and how these people with little or no help made it. They made it, and they changed life for everybody else. And that just, it needs to be honored.
Well, I think it's about courage too. The thing that I kept coming back to working on this was just the incredible amount of courage that it took to stand up and to fight, and the resiliency that it took. That's what I just continue to come back to. And so I think, we're two different people who experience that thing differently, but also the same. It's wonderful, and it's important to make sure that, when you're talking about history, that these stories are preserved, and then not only preserved, but celebrated. And so that's what the Changemaker Center is about. And it's going to continue. That's the great thing about a tech installation, is that we can update it forever. And so what we're trying to do is put it in a place, though, so that when I'm not here anymore, or when, the administration changes, right? Like, people can continue to take care of it and make sure that it's maintained. And so it's exciting.
It is. What do you think, what do you want people 20 years from now? What's that going to look like? Who knows, right?
20 years from now. That's one of the great things about LCC, though, is that we built things to last. And so I think in 20 years, you gotta consider, let's say we put 10 in every year, every 2 years, right? So we're talking, another 50 people are going to be in the Changemaker Center for people to learn about. When you think about Lansing through time, in 20 years, we'll have 20 more years worth of amazing accomplishments and people to celebrate, because it's about progress. If you look from 1847 to the last entry, which I think was for 2024, a lot has happened, and there's still more work to do. And so I think 20 years from now, I'm hopeful that people will still be able to engage with it. I hope that, one thing I will tell you is that before 20 years, we hope to add motion activation. There'll be more in-depth interviews with inductees and their family members. It's going to continue to evolve and change. But 20 years from now, I firmly expect that I'll be retired, and I'll come back to the college and I'll say, look at them. It looks so awesome. That's what I think.
So explain a little bit motion. What is that?
Yeah.
What is that going to be?
So on Wall 3, which is the Trailblazer Zone, where we have our games, we have it kind of ready. We built it in the background so that when we get to phase 3, we're ready. But motion activation, so you'll walk up and the exhibit will recognize you, and you'll be able to interact with potentially a changemaker. And I got this idea. Dr. Robinson and I went to the Muhammad Ali Museum in St. Louis, and there was an exhibit there where you could walk up and you basically could be boxing against Ali. And I thought to myself, I don't want our people to box, our changemakers, but I do want to be able to maybe have a conversation, or you could put yourself into their situation, or maybe, you're back at, one of the old elementary schools or something like that. So here soon, we're going to look at that. Not too soon, the media team will kill me, but soon as in phase 3, whatever that is. But yeah.
Wow, that is awesome. And the technology will just keep growing. So Who knows, at some point,
Exactly right.
I don't know. So is there anything else that you wanted to add about the Changemakers, and maybe, I don't know, some personal insights on it? Or
I think I would just say, one, we put in 30 to start. And that's certainly not the number of changemakers who have had an impact on Lansing. And so I would tell people, we have a form on our website where you can nominate a changemaker, because this is a community effort. We want to know, are there events or milestones that we missed? Are there people who you think are Changemakers? And if so, we want to know about that. So that'd be the first thing. Every 2 years, new Changemakers are going in. So be thinking about that. The second thing I'd say is it's free. We have public hours. It's open on Wednesdays from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and on Fridays and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I would just encourage people to visit and bring their friends and bring their family, because we're excited about it. We want to share this. We want to share this with our community. And I think thirdly, just from a personal perspective, I'm very thankful that I was able to work on this project, and I'm very, very, very proud of the team that worked to put this together. It is a beautiful space, but more than that, it tells so many amazing stories, and that team worked so hard. I mean, it was a 3-year project, and the feedback from the community has been awesome. The outpouring of support has been awesome. And so I just think people need to see it. You need to see it to experience it, and I don't think you'll be disappointed.
It is riveting. So what, so you said people, it's public, they can get in. So will the building be open on those times then too?
Yep.
Okay.
And so they have come in on floor 3, so park in the Gannon ramp, and the doors on floor 3 are going to be open, and you can come right in. And there's going to be a nice takeaway piece for people, just to kind of guide you through the space, and let you know what to expect. But plan for 90 minutes if you want to see as much as you can. And on that Trailblazer Zone wall, here's a hack for you. Make sure you go to walls 2 and 5 before you try to do any of the trivia, because that's where you'll get the answers from.
All right. Now, that would have helped me yesterday. Thank you very much. So just running back for a second, the inductees in 2 years, will there be a new ceremony or something for that, or how does that work?
We're working on it. We're working on all of that. I think, we like our kind of Black History Month of February is a good announcement time for us. That's when the grand opening was. And then we like our Juneteenth swapping out of the artifacts. And so I'd imagine, announcements, 2 years from now, 2028 in February. And then sometime later in the year, we make sure that their information is up on the wall and things like that. And so basically people have majority of 2027 to nominate future Changemakers, with us making the announcement February of 28. And then working on compiling all their information, creating their videos, doing interviews, stuff like that.
Awesome. Well, it is a great space, and I can tell that everybody, I'm sure it was a labor of love, but it still had to, like I said before, a heavy lift, and you guys did a great job. Knocked it out of the park. So
I appreciate that. Well, what I say is we can do anything at LCC.
I think you're right.
And we can.
All right. Well, Layne, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah.
And this is Patty Spagnuolo, wishing you well, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on the Starzone. For more information on this episode, visit lccconnect.org. You can also find a complete list of Lansing Community College events by visiting lcc.edu/calendar. Until next time, thanks for getting into the zone.